I'm Dylan Ratigan. I've interviewed nearly every CEO and most world leaders during the past 25 years. And now I'm bootstrapping. I'm turning my attention to the new CEOs and the irrepressible entrepreneurs leading the next generation of innovation in the world. Welcome back to tastylive. I am Dylan Ratigan. Kirill Gichuntz is my guest today for Bootstrapping. His company is called Fuel Gems, and they are raising money on the Republic platform. Kirill, it's a pleasure to meet you. When reading the background, it sounds like you've got yourself an interesting business here, which is an additive, right? It sounds like it's something that's added to existing fossil fuel combustion sources. What exactly is the additive, and what exactly is Fuel Gems?
Sure. So thanks for doing this interview.
Sure.
It's, I guess the story about Fuel Gems and the technology is not so simple as just an additive that is added to fuel. It's actually much more interesting than that. And the product that we specialize in, and that's really special, is the reactors, the plasma, which creates our advanced material, which can be used. It's a powerful catalytic material which speeds up various chemical reactions in a very interesting way, in line with quantum mechanics, that improves various materials. So we improve the combustion of fuels such as gasoline, diesel, and possibly other fuels like kerosene. And we also improve batteries. This is one of the latest lab experiments that we have done. We bought over-counter batteries, and we took the material from regular alkaline over-counter batteries, and we built a series of batteries using that material from regular batteries and our material. And the performance of the batteries that were working with our material were 300% better, 282% more power. So we improve fuel and we improve batteries so far.
So just to be clear from my own understanding, so you're saying it's the same chemical process that's being used for battery performance as well as fuel performance? Am I understanding that correctly? Or is it different?
The chemical reactions, they're different. The material is the same, and the properties behind this material, they allow the performance to increase. So it's the electron transfer is likely is the electron transfer that's increased, which speeds up the combustion process, and it also allows batteries to perform better.
So I want to go down this rabbit hole, but I don't know the degree to which it becomes, your intellectual property. So you'll stop me. But if I understand the beginning of what you're telling me, you're adding is it a physical, like it's a chemical additive of some kind?
Right. It's a material, and it's a nanoparticle based material that we're adding in small amounts to either fuels or batteries. And
so I can imagine, I have a tank of gas and I add a liquid and it changes the way that the gas burns. Am I imagining that correctly?
Yes, absolutely. That's right.
And then, but how does that work? And then when I'm making a battery, where does the additive live in the battery? Is it
in the anode of the battery?
Okay. And the consequence of the additive is a more efficient transfer of energy, basically?
Well, what we learned with batteries is that it holds more electricity. So we get increase in amps and volts, in both amps and volts. And the increase is quite significant. It's 282% over regular material used in alkaline batteries. Now, alkaline batteries, that's the disposable batteries where you only use them one time. And this is where we got, this increase. So this material can be used in batteries today. It's a big market, it's a nice market. It's a $14 billion market by 2030. Now, fuel market, that's $1 trillion market. It's much more attractive. But we also think with some R&D, it's potential to use this. There's potential to use this material in supercapacitors as well as lithium-ion batteries, which is a huge market as well. So we're covering all fuels. So initially, we started our company with a mission to make fuel cleaner, which was fossil fuel-based fuels, meaning gasoline and diesel. But now we're in the electricity segment as well.
And where are you in the process? In other words, are you in the research phase or are you in the marketplace? And to the degree to which you are in the marketplace, how deep into the market are you at this point?
We're running trials with companies, and we have a product which we're producing on a small scale. We have a customer, actually, a small company, but it's a small company, and we need to scale. We're in a market. We're running trials, and the goal is to ink a big client so that way we can outsource our additive to be mass produced, and then we'll go global.
And so, give me an example of a big client. Is it an automaker? Is it a battery manufacturer? Is it a chemicals company?
Well, a big client would be either a fleet. For instance, we're in talks with a fleet that had 10,000 trucks. Those are quite big one. We're in talks with several large oil and gas companies with revenues above 50 billion or 20 billion, with revenues above 20 billion and up to 300 billion. We are in talks with oil and gas companies with revenues up to about $1 billion. And those seem to be more likely our target market.
And is your preference to work with an energy producer or with an energy consumer, like a fleet versus a gas company?
Would love to work with both. I think with fleets, it would be a little bit easier in terms of market penetration, though we're seeing a lot of interest from smaller oil and gas companies.
Why would they? Where is their resistance to engagement? In other words, is it just about understanding the mechanics? And I mean, because your pitch sounds extremely compelling, so I'm just curious where the resistance in the dialogue is for implementing something like this.
Well, Dylan, unfortunately, what we learned by going out to the market and speaking to CTOs of these companies, of the logistics companies and of oil and gas companies, is that, well, some oil and gas companies are interested, most are not, because, I guess it would eat away at their profits. So big oil and gas companies are not interested in this product.
Because the product makes it such that they sell fewer gallons per mile, so to speak, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. So unfortunately, those are not interested. However, gas station operators, so gasoline and diesel distributors are interested in this product. Some of these interested parties are very big. Their companies are 20 plus billion in revenue, though we're too small for them at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
But typically from the fleet operators, it's very interesting. They say that, we tried all sorts of fuel additives and none of them work. So one of the biggest problems when it comes to selling is that most CTOs at fleet companies say, we've tried a bunch of stuff, it doesn't work. Snake oil. So this is kind of the problem with the market. And then, what we do is, for instance, we ran a trial with a company and we dosed 4 of their buses. And, and they were running logging software of all of the fuel consumed before the trial, several days before the trial, and days after we dosed the fuel. And we could see that the efficiency of the fuel increased by about 5 to 10% after we dosed. So this was clearly visible in the data, in the logging data that was recorded by the computer of all the systems that measured the fuel on board the bus. So this product really works, and even, in a fuel world, if you're saving 3% of fuel, that's already great. It's considered excellent. We've given this product to prospective clients, for instance, to an oil and gas company, and they recorded large savings, about 5%. So the product really works, unlike many other things in the market.
But your issue is that prior attempts are viewed as failed attempts, and so there's just an enhanced skepticism as to the ability for an additive to create the efficiency that you promise. And exactly. So what do you think is the best way for you to demonstrate your efficacy in a cost efficient way, such that you have a great reference that you can basically say, I understand there's a history of failure with additives. The reason this additive is different is XYZ, and here's a statistically significant referral, which I'm assuming is what your dream scenario is.
Exactly. We're in talks with some clients which we think could become we're in talks with prospective clients that we think will become clients, and these are some big companies that work with fleets. Mm-hmm. We really need one decent sized fleet to become a client and purchase on a regular basis, and then the word of mouth is going to take over. We really believe the word of mouth will take over in this market, and it'll grow like wildfire. So once we hit, because there are no products out there that are comparable to what we have, to something that allows fuel to be more efficient. There are lots of companies claiming this, but when it comes to trials, it just doesn't work. And we did trials, it really worked all the time. So I think for us, it's the key is really securing the first client. Big one, big fleet.
Right. And so I know you're raising money on Republic. What is the use of funds right now for the money you're raising?
We're basically just going to run lots of trials, secure IP, additional IP. We won a patent, and we're going to go for more patents. And there's some R&D work that's involved, but our goal is to run as many trials as we can and secure some IP, and also find a company that's going to find a chemical company that'll be an outsourced partner for this product. So that way, once we have the demand for, hopefully millions of gallons of our fuel additive, we'll have a producer to manufacture it. And of course, one of the exciting things is that one of the byproducts is a material which can be used in batteries.
And so, I mean, and I'm assuming I'm going to say things that are quite obvious, and I'm sure you'll say, yeah, of course. It's just a matter of being big enough and having the right kind of sort of qualified or warm introduction. But I'm just thinking about FedEx, UPS, Amazon, massive organizations where fuel cost is a meaningful component of their operating cost, where that 3% number has the greatest impact.
That's true. Absolutely. We think a little bit different, though. Those companies are great, but the majority of trucks that operate, they are owned by small operators. So 2 million.
It's a subcontract to these bigger companies.
Right.
So your attitude is, let's get to the trucking companies that are taking the contracts from Amazon, because they're actually the ones that wear the cost more than Amazon does, or whoever.
Exactly. Though, like you said, you're absolutely right and on point with big companies like FedEx and UPS. The amount of money they spend on fuel is just astronomical. It's in the billions.
Is this the sort of thing that would also work for heating purposes? Is it only for transportation fuels, or could you, like, if I have a home that uses fuel oil or natural gas, Is it applicable in the stationary environment, or is it only for transportation?
So far, unfortunately for, well, not unfortunately, it's a big market. It's internal combustion engine is what we serve. So hopefully it also works in airplanes. Though heating oil, it's a different technology since it's sprayed into the burner and it burns up. Same with gas, it's sprayed into the burner, burns up. So we're with gas, there's probably no use case. With heating oil, we don't know. We haven't tried, but maybe.
But for sure, transportation is your bullseye, which is more than enough of a marketplace for any business, large or small.
Right. And if we've gotten interest from shipping companies also, and ships use just a lot of fuel. They
Mhm.
use, we were told by many folks, by advisors, if you guys go after the shipping industry and you get a client that's a ship operator, it's a gold mine
Mhm.
because they uh, use up a lot of fuel, and hopefully we can treat it. We haven't done a trial yet with a shipping company, but something we're looking forward to do in the future.
And then I guess the other sort of elephant in the room with something like this is the cost of the additive itself, because if the additive if the obviously if the additive cost is as much as the fuel savings, it becomes less compelling. So how does this price as an additive, as a ratio to savings, basically?
Oh, our ROI is very high. It could be as high as 1,000%. So our price to produce that is the additive is quite low. What I should mention also that's really exciting is since we started fundraising, we've we increased the production time of the additive. Well, reduced the production time of the additive, and it took us before the batches of the additive would take up to a month to manufacture. Right now, it takes about 1 to 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Real, no kidding.
yeah, we did some homework, and our scientists put together an interesting way to produce this, and now it's way easier to produce this.
Could you use it like another? Could I use it in my car? In other words, can you do like a micro test? Use it in your own vehicle, or is it the sort of thing that needs a broader application? Or could I just put it in like dry gas if I'm concerned? There's the same way I would put dry gas in my tank if I was concerned about water in my fuel lines. Could I just take a half a pint or whatever the dosing is and just lay it in one vehicle?
Sure, sure. Anybody can add this to a fuel tank. It's very easy. We did some trials with a Toyota engine,
Mhm.
and this fuel was the fuel was a little bit different than a standard fuel, which is E10. It was had less ethanol content, and we've gotten about 25% plus mileage with this additive on
I mean,
freeway.
additional 25% efficiency, you're saying, on
Yeah, which was
on a Toyota.
unthinkable. Just huge, just huge.
Well, Kirill, it's a pleasure to make the acquaintance. I'm thrilled to hear that things like this are happening, and appreciate your efforts to try to solve a big old problem. So congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Kirill Gachuns, the company, Fuel Gems. They're on the Republic website, um, republic.com/fuel gems. I am Dylan Ratigan. You've been watching Bootstrapping. More Tasty Live right after this.